Good day to one and all. Honorable guest speaker, Dr. Zarik Boghossian, respected Chairman, Dr. V.R. Rajendran, respected Director, Professor Vinod Vijay Kumar, distinguished faculty members, and dear students. I take immense pleasure in welcoming you all to the 59th CAD Lecture Series L21059, titled The City of Tomorrow and the Collaboration Methods of the Future. CAD Chennai Academy of Architecture and Design is a standalone architecture institution in Chennai, imparting B.Arch degree in a state-of-the-art facility near Periyapalayam on the Chennai-Tirupati highway. CAD is a unit of Arulmigu Nayagi Swamigal Saurashtra Educational Trust, which was established with the prime objective of spearheading quality education in disciplines that would make a profound impact on human society. Regular and meaningful exposure to the architecture profession and allied fields is crucial and complementary in architectural education. To get additive inputs other than regular academics, CAD has initiated this lecture series featuring achievers, pioneers, and renowned personalities from a multitude of backgrounds, creating a forum for sharing knowledge with the CAD students. Our director, Professor Vinod Vijay Kumar, is an architect and urban designer who holds a master's degree in planning and a specialization in urban design from the National University of Singapore. His practice background from Singapore in the fields of master planning, architecture, and interior design has enabled him to partner with clients and consultancies all over the world on projects of international repute. At CAD, he strives constantly to impart quality education that is relevant and of high standards. I would now like to invite our director, Professor Vinod Vijay Kumar, to deliver the welcome address.
I would like to start this session with the Tirupurul fitting to the topic under deliberation. Aruvinai yenba ulavo karuviyan kalamariந்து செய்யும். Meaning, is there anything difficult for him to do who acts with the right tools and the right time? Good morning to the virtual gathering in India, and a very good evening, or good night, in fact, to our speaker, Dr. Zarik Boghossian from Los Angeles, USA, and the listeners around the globe. It gives a great pleasure to welcome our founder chairman, Professor Dr. V.R. Rajendran. We are honored to have you here during this lecture, sir. CAD is constantly on the lookout for tools and technologies that has the capability to change architecture practice ahead of times. Digital tools have become ubiquitous and pervasive and are changing the pace of architecture practices rapidly. Increased interest in the impact these technologies are having and will have in our daily lives has expanded the use of these tools in architecture practices, and also in the manner how premier architecture schools deploy them in their teaching methods. At CAD, we are constantly looking at different promises of digital technologies as huge opportunities and positively engaging these tools in transforming our shared understanding of the world from an architecture perspective. Once we start these engagements on these platforms, suddenly there is a paradigm shift in our experience of the built environment, especially during the design stage. Dr. Zarik Boghossian is truly a curator of these kind of experiences through the path-breaking products he has developed. During our CAD team's earlier meetings with Zarik, we have found his ebullience and brimming enthusiasm very contagious. This lecture, I'm sure, will open up potentials of digital tools to extrapolate the possible dimension and change the way the design, build, and experience the built environment itself. And today, I'm extremely delighted to invite our guest speaker, Dr. Zarik from Los Angeles, USA, to this 59th lecture of CAD Public Lecture Series on the much needed deliberation, the city of tomorrow and the collaboration methods of the future. I welcome my dear CAD students, my learner colleagues at CAD and members of the architecture practice fraternity who are watching this lecture live over the CAD Facebook page. I welcome the esteemed members of the management and the dedicated members of the organizing team, Professor Dushyant, Professor Krishnasudha, and Professor Erularasan. Architecture is a discipline which is constantly redefined by evolution. The abilities to visualize the future is a key proficiency to inculcate, and the adoption of technology in architectural practice has undoubtedly allowed this to be more easily achieved with clarity. I'm sure this lecture on the City of Tomorrow and the Collaboration Methods of the Future by Dr. Zarik will also throw light on the possibilities of advanced digital visualization tools, among other heads under deliberation. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Our chairman, Professor Dr. V.R. Rajendran, has more than 30 years' experience in teaching and has held the highest position in academics as a Vice Chancellor appointed by the University Grants Commission, Government of India. He is a government-nominated member in many universities and councils in India, such as the Pharmacy Council of India, Indira Gandhi National Open University, and Periyar University. I would like to invite the chairman to deliver the presiding address.
Good morning to you all. Namaskar. Today I am really happy to welcome you to this great occasion of this webinar of CAAD. CAAD, Chennai Academy of Architecture and Design, is a standalone college dedicated for the purpose of architecture education in India. I congratulate Professor Vinod Vijay Kumar and all the faculty members for conducting this lecture series regularly every month. It's a great task that they are doing it with a very great success. I wish that this should continue forever. On behalf of CAAD and on behalf of India, I take the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Zarik on this happiest occasion. I had a very small discussion with him before this meeting started. Really, I moved out with his excellent words which he said to me. I got 3 points from his talks before I had this meeting. Number one, he said, you can be anything in your life. You can be a doctor or architect or engineer, whatever may be. You can be in a very high position also in life. But that more than that, what is important is that you have to be a human being, being human. A human has to be a being human is the most important thing, which I really wondered the way he explained to me. And number two, Dr. Zarik told me that in the world now, there should not be any lack of resources in the globally. Now the world has become very small. Contact points, contacting the people has become very easy. So the resource available in one part of the world should be made available to everywhere for the sake of the public and for the sake of the safety, growth, and knowledge of our people. That's really excellent, Dr. Zarik. And number three, which Dr. Zarik told me, has reminded me of our past president of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam, where Dr. Abdul Kalam has said that you have to dream in your life. The dream will bring you to the topmost position in your life. The same thing Dr. Zarik told me, that imagine yourself what you want to be in life. I was really moved when he told me that in his earlier life, Dr. Zarik has suffered a lot and he was really washing the dishes at home while washing the dishes, he used to imagine what he has to be in future. He wanted to become the world famous architect and all. He was imagination. That imagination has made him to be now to come true in his life. This is what we have to follow from his wordings, which I am going to follow. I'm really impressed very much with Dr. Zarik's views. And I'm sure today's meeting, today's this webinar session is going to be an extraordinary, not only with regard to the architecture field, but with regard to the entire human being, how a human being has to be in the world. And I'm really surprised when he said that he has visited Chennai and he has gone to Armenian church, and he was briefing me about his visit also. Really, it gives us a very good pleasure to us. On behalf of CAAD and on behalf of India, I welcome you, Dr. Zarik, to please come once again to Chennai. You have to visit our CAAD institution. You have to meet all architects, and you have to come to the Armenian church also. Once again, we'll take you. I welcome you to this profession, to this excellent meeting. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Our speaker for today, Dr. Zarik Boghossian, is a passionate and accomplished technology entrepreneur and serial innovator with over 30 years of experience designing and developing advanced technologies and innovative solutions, including aerospace systems. Dr. Zarik was responsible for the development of the mission-critical electric power system flight software for the International Space Station for NASA. This system was successfully launched by NASA and has been orbiting the Earth for the past decade. Dr. Zarik has become extremely active as an investor and an entrepreneur to create startups in forward-looking markets such as augmented reality, on-demand services industry, social networking and collaboration industry, and in the solar energy industry. Dr. Zarik also helps and mentors young entrepreneurs. Dr. Zarik was a head of technology and professional services at Integrian, founder of Zima Enterprises Incorporated, the co-founder and CTO of Woven Media, creating enterprise-level software, technology, and digital media solutions that have meaning and potential to change the world. As a professor at Pepperdine University in California and a public speaker, Dr. Zarik has been teaching and mentoring MBA and undergraduate business school students. Dr. Zarik holds a BS in computer science from the University of North Texas, an MBA from Pepperdine University in business management, and a doctorate with highest honors from the Pepperdine University, specializing in organizational development and leadership. Augmented, a company Dr. Zarik founded in 2014 and currently leads as CEO, is an augmented reality platform designed specifically for architecture and building information modeling. Augmented's augmented reality solution is a powerful and easy to use visualization tool that fits perfectly into the architectural design and construction workflow and helps to create significant time and cost benefits for the industry. Augmented is building up traction across the globe and in all continents, also witnessing significant interest and adoption from architectural firms and construction associations. Dr. Zarik has not only scaled heights of success, he also has achieved his lifelong ambition of scaling the 16,854 feet high Mount Ararat, the national mountain of Armenia, in 2015. I would like to now invite Dr. Zarik to present his lecture on the very intriguing topic, the city of tomorrow and the collaboration methods of the future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, dear guests, Professor Vijayakumar. I am humbled and shaken by the warm welcome. I was not expecting such a big honor, the hospitality. But before I begin, I would like to extend my warm and well wishes for the entire people of India for going through this global pandemic situation in your country. I followed the news and I understand the devastation. It's a global pandemic. We've gone through it in America, and we're still having some issues. But having been in India, having had friends in India, having met your culture, your beautiful country, your hospitality, it pains me to see the images on TV. So on behalf of myself and my family, I wish everyone in India well and speedy recovery. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me share my screen and we'll begin. And I appreciate the opportunity for being here. So let me share my screen here. Okay, I believe you can see my screen, correct? Okay, yes. Okay, well, the city of tomorrow, which is the topic today, just like all the cities, as we can imagine, emerged from 10,000 years ago, thousands of years ago, is a byproduct of culture and technology. And believe it or not, technology has been evolving over the last thousands of years or so, and making the contemporary cities currently a playground for sensors, networks, and unfortunately hackers, you know. So in the 21st century, with all evolving the challenges from global issues, devastating pandemic, the question is how technology can evolve to keep up with urbanization. So the city of tomorrow, basically, what we're looking at is to have clean air, efficient transportation, better waste management, and better energy use, and better supply, food and supply and distribution system. Because as the cities get more and more population, creating these levels of efficiencies are becoming extremely challenging. But there is one key component here that will allow the city of tomorrow or the cities of tomorrow to coexist, and that is information. It would not be possible, none of this would be possible without understanding how these interconnected systems, the waste management, the supply chain, the security, all this information, we're using sensors and satellites and connected networks had to work together. So information is at the core of this city of tomorrow. And it's more and more today than it's been in the past. So it is the information that actually allows for the cities to operate. And now we're going into the city of tomorrow and the information cycles. So if we look at this properly from the perspective of a process and a workflow, first and foremost, there has to be means of generating information technologies. And how do we do that? Right now, we're doing it through IoT, Internet of Things, sensors, satellites, smartphones, and devices. So the cycle starts with generating information technologies. And then the next step is naturally, we have to be able to process these information technologies. And how do we do that? It's by the big data, machine learning, deep learning, and artificial intelligence. So as we evolve more and more, and as we become more advanced from technology perspective, it becomes much easier to process these kind of technologies. And then the next level is to communicate these information technologies. So it's generating, processing, and then communicating. And how do we communicate, or how will we communicate for the cities of tomorrow? And as we evolve into the future, it's either through augmented reality, virtual reality, or what's known as a mixed reality. So now let's explore these a little bit further. So we're going to focus on communication part of this, because we're talking about what can be effective for architectural world from a communication and collaboration perspective. So if we look at the information communication, immersive communication on information technology from one spectrum to the next, one is the physical reality, and the other spectrum is the digital reality. So if we look at these two spectrums, mixed reality, which we will get into the definition of, stays in the middle, and virtual reality, it's more tinted toward the digital reality. And what is virtual reality is actually virtual. There is no reality in there, but it's more of the world that is created for you in a very unnatural environment, such as gaming. But the augmented reality is where the focus must be, because we as human beings, we live in a real world, and we would like to see things in a more real environment. So virtual reality is effective when you want to play and get out of your moments and see another world, and you don't want to be disturbed by it. Mixed reality is a mixture between the two, but augmented reality, in my opinion, and the opinion of many experts and many advanced technology companies for the future, would be the prime experience in many industries, including e-commerce, including retail, including software. iPhone will have 100% of its functionality based on augmented reality type experience. 5 years, 6 years out, most mobile devices will become your AR guide, from collecting information to processing information to making decisions, and to buy items as you wish and as you can experience before buying them. So the good news is, if we look at the virtual reality and mixed reality, what traditionally has been done is by use of goggles and by use of other computing devices, which are extremely expensive. But if you think about us as human beings globally, I actually read an article yesterday or the day before that 800 million people in India will have access to mobile devices. I do not remember at which point in time the statistics was developed or is shown to be. Is it 5 years out? Is it now? Or is it in the future? So what we all have in common today is this device. It follows you everywhere. So most people would never come back home if they forget to take something to work with. But if you do not have your mobile device, you will drive back home to pick up your mobile device because you must have your mobile device. So the beauty of what augmented reality can offer is your mobile devices can become the communication and collaboration device, and you would not need any expensive computing devices to carry with. So so from this point on, I would like to say that the conversation is going to be focusing mostly on augmented reality. And back to the architecture and construction industries for the cities of tomorrow, which is the huge industry, by the way. They're just the tremendous growth element, especially in third world countries. Believe it or not, we have resources in Brazil, and Brazil is known to be an advancing country, but it's a poor country. But the amount of construction and development and urbanism and architecture And the experts that are coming out of that region is just tremendous. And I'm very certain that India and China are going through the same process. But as an entrepreneur, which I recommend all of us to become, because entrepreneurship is truly a skill that all of us must have, to have endured the pain through this global pandemic with its uncertainty that every day can be unknown to the human beings in the world. An entrepreneurship skill set and a mindset would have allowed you to survive through this much better. Because in the entrepreneurship world, in the startup world, one thing that is in common with the pandemic is that tomorrow may not be there. It's extremely uncertain that are we going to get funding or not. It's extremely uncertain that can I continue with my idea because I cannot find the resources. So this whole idea of entrepreneurship, it's not only to start your business, it's a mindset that we all must develop so that we can actually succeed in this planet and in this new world. So as a person, as a human being, rather than just as a professional. So, but entrepreneurship always solves a problem. So what is the problem we try to solve? We know errors, mistakes, and change requests cost money. I, as a user of contractors, building houses or fixing fixtures or remodeling in my house, I have dealt with contractors, I have dealt with blueprints, I have dealt with promises, I have dealt with estimated labor, and none of those promises ever have been met because there has always been errors and mistakes. And things have changed along the way. So as an entrepreneur, we were 7 years ago, we said, if you're going to create a technology for architects, what is the problem that we're solving? So there must be a problem that we're solving or improving. So we are saying errors, mistakes happen all the time. We also know for a fact, two-dimensional models and blueprints are not as effective as sustainable as they have been before. So maybe 30 years ago, there was no option, but now there are options. We know printing papers are not good for the planet. We know it's a waste. We know it's cost money. We know that because of the changes, you're going to have to print and print and print all the time. And so that's not sustainable and cost effective. Plus the visualization effect of a flat two-dimensional blueprint, which is a piece of paper in front of you, you can visualize it in your head, but you cannot actually feel it and you cannot experience it. And also the other problem is, as advanced as the mobile devices are, they're still not as strong as they need to be to flawlessly give you the experience of an augmented reality on your mobile device. So if you are using Revit modeling tool or SketchUp or Rhino to develop your models, you do know that these models are expensive. They're very large, expensive from being a large models. And the same models cannot be viewed as you have developed them on a mobile device. So a solution that can come and address this is to compress and to convert these models into a format and a size that can be viewable on the mobile device without losing the integrity of the model. So that's where the challenges and the problems are. So we believe over the last few years, we developed this solution called Augmentation. If you notice, AUG is spelled as a capital letter, and I'll tell you the reason why. So we have trademark AUG and Augmentation equally. So it's a cloud-based platform. You don't have to have an expensive computer to be able to run this. We have a secure backend system where you can create a profile, you can create an account, and we can upload your models into our backend, and we can do our magic to compress and convert, and then make available to you an augmented reality formatted file whereby you can share with your end client. So we believe the solution to the problems I was talking about It's, by the way, I'm being transparent and honest. I am not claiming we're the only ones in this world who are doing this. I am saying Augmentation is one of the many products that is addressing the cities of tomorrow and the problems with the cities of tomorrow. So it minimizes errors and mistakes. It eliminates two-dimensional modeling issues and blueprints. It's good for the planet. We don't have to cut a lot of trees to create papers. And it improves the collaboration and communication. And in some occasions, as our clients gave us some feedback, it actually helps them to win proposals. Imagine in your classroom, if you wish to provide your final thesis and to present to the professor sitting in front of you and the chairperson and all that, imagine presenting in such a format they can actually see your thesis. They can actually walk into your thesis if it's a structure, rather than a flat screen with a bunch of PowerPoint slides that you can actually point into those rooms, point into those blueprints, and then make your point across. Again, this is how it used to be, but perhaps this is not how it's going to be in the future. So the companies and the institutions that will adopt to these kind of technologies, I believe they will train the best architects, and they would be ready and welcome to the world whereby an AR solution will become a default solution rather than an exception. So I will go through some of these things quick because I actually have a demonstration I would like to show you. I think I will show that at the end. But basically, the key to these solutions are interactivity, mobility, spatial representation of the model. So you can see your model in front of you on your laptop, or you can actually go to an empty land and you can see your model in front of you on 1-to-1 scale and walk through all the bedrooms and the living rooms and the stairs using your mobile technology. So this spatial representation is very important. And it also is conforming with the common data environment and the BIM solutions and platforms. So it is all hand in hand as to this big data element can be handled and managed better through some of these newer technologies. So our grand vision has been, for the last 7 years, to create what we call an OGG file. So just like PDF it is for all of us, if I were to send you a document, most likely it would have been in a PDF format. So our vision is, and is continuing, that at some point in the future, not only the customers for Augmentation, but actually people around the world will use OGG as a standard. They're going to ask each other, can you send me an OGG file so I can approve your design? Can you send me an OGG file so I can edit and give you back my feedback? Can you send me an OGG file so I can present it to the clients? You see? And now if you're wondering what is an OGG file is like this. It could be a blueprint type format. It's a one-page, light-sized PDF type file that has a QR code and as an element of recognition on the same page. So in this way, you can say, you can use our mobile technology to scan the QR code, and I'll show you the effects of it at the end, and then use the blueprint in front of you, if you choose to, as a marker for the mobile device navigation. So in a way, this marker is actually, in a way, it's a brand and it's recognition of what you have done. Because iOS and Android technologies, they allow you to use the surface of your table or the floor to use it as a marker. So you no longer really need a blueprint in front of you. All you need is a QR code, download the model into your mobile device, and then use any flat surface to display your model. But perhaps for branding, what if you could use the CAD as your marker? So imagine the professors can send assignments to the students saying, by the way, this is the model that you have to review and make some comments and make it better. So by using our technology, you can scan the QR code and you can look at this beautiful campus, the CAAD campus in Chennai, and actually use your mobile device to actually navigate and see the model in front of you. So Chennai Academy of Architecture can use our solution to send flyers to potential candidates, to conferences, and encouraging people to look at this beautiful picture and also look at some private and secure model that then can only be viewed through our mobile device. So as you can imagine, this OGG file can have many benefits. So it's not only technology related, it could be marketing related and proposal related as well. So the magic, as we call it, the geometry to visualization, we have plugins, which are apps, basically another word for apps for Revit and SketchUp, that makes the life easier for an architect to upload the models into our backend system. But even if you don't use SketchUp and Revit, you can actually directly upload the models to our backend system, so we can do our magic to compress the files, to convert those files so you can view them with a QR code onto your mobile devices. And naturally, we have iOS and Android, and we have our private cloud-based dashboard as well. We have 2 patents on the workflow. So what's so amazing about what we're doing is, from the time that a student or an architect has created a model, it could be an interior design of some sort, it could be the structure, it could be the plumbing and the piping, it could be the air conditioning system, any model that can be developed. So by pushing a button, that model can be uploaded through our backend system. And the workflow that you see here, within minutes, not a day, not few hours, within minutes, you get an AR quality QR code and a model ready to be viewed by a colleague, by a customer, or by a partner. So the value proposition that we have is not only the technology, but the way we process these models, keeping the integrity of those models and creating an AR experience on the mobile device. Oh, the other patent that we have, this is extremely interesting. We call it geolocation. So imagine you download the model into your mobile device ahead of time. So the geolocation means I don't know exactly the exact location of the structure I'm going to build. This is actually Armenia. Right before pandemic, I was in Armenia. We were testing our application. The building you see behind us is a technology center. So the test sample here is I was going to build a parking structure in front of this building. And as you notice on the left side, there is a metering system that is allowing me to go right, to go left, to stay straight. And now in a few seconds, it's going to ask me to point the camera onto the flat surface, which I did, and then bring the camera up, and then you see the parking structure in front of the building in real environment. So this is the AR experience where the environment is all real, and the structure that you just built, you're experiencing at the right location, geolocation, in front of you, so you can actually make decisions. So in a way, this was a test sample. Obviously, I would never have built a structure like that in front of the pavement, but nevertheless, we wanted to show the capability of it. So as you can see, there's so much you can do. There's all this element of experiencing in the real world. So the competitive advantages we have in general is on-site, on location, on scale, on any mobile device, geolocation. The experience is very easy. And then there's an element I'm going to show at the end. It's called team viewing and editing, because the core concept of collaboration is, how do I communicate with my colleagues? How do we make decisions on a structure in real time as I'm seeing it and you're experiencing at the same time on your mobile devices? So that is actually the patent we're just filing, the 4th patent we're filing. And it's an extremely exciting feature that we're developing. All right, so Augmentation and solutions, like, I'm not here, by the way, this is not a sales call. I'm trying to share knowledge about the innovation that we have. and we're very proud of it. And it has taken us 7 years to come to this point. So there's a lot of use cases that one can benefit from. So it can be for the viewing of the entire structure. It could be for marketing promotions. It could be seeing the details in the piping and so on. Some of the customers that we have, so this is back to the earlier point that we discussed about the world being flat and then interconnected and hyper-connected. As a small startup, we have representation almost in all continents in the world. The customer base, the user base that come to us are almost coming from all over the world. We actually have users from India, from Afghanistan, from Iran, from all over Europe, from China, Vietnam, South Korea, North Korea, because people all over the world are the same. Architecture concepts are the same. So everyone is looking for solutions that they can advance their businesses toward the future. So as you can see, we are agnostic to one location in the world. We have created something for the world. And that's the beauty of this world that we live in, and the technologies that are allowing us to do this. And, you know, there are some names here from all over the world. Naturally, we're still growing the business, but my point is companies of every size can become users of AR type solutions. And Belas Arts University in Brazil, it's an educational industry. They're one of the most prestigious architectural and urbanism universities in Latin America and in Brazil. And they've been using our solution for the last 3 years. I actually hired some students from that university to join us at Augmentation so they can help us advance in that part of the world. So a demo of the Augmentation. I want to show you briefly about a couple of use cases. Then I'm going to share my mobile device. I'm already connected. And I will share this with you to show you the team viewing concept I was talking about. So as an example, Projeto is an architectural magazine in Brazil. So I was there actually for the opening of this magazine. On the left, you see, on the left of the screen, you see Projeto magazine. And all I see is a structure. And by placing a QR code, as you see in the bottom right portion of the magazine, the audience there used our app to scan the code, and then they saw this element in the middle of the screen, whereby it's a 30-plus story hotel. And as a matter of fact, you can zoom into every floor of this hotel and go inside these floors and see the elements of this hotel, the number of rooms in this hotel. So long as the Revit or SketchUp modeling tool that you use is enabling people to walk into the building, our solution is allowing the same experience on the mobile device. So there's a small video, time allowing, I will show later on. And there's a commercial I will show you later on. But I would like to actually share my mobile device, if you don't mind. And let me stop sharing here. And then I'm going to share my mobile device so I can show you, start broadcasting. Okay, so I believe, let me make sure if you see my screen.
Yes.
Do you see my mobile screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
very nice. Yes, sir, thank you. So let me bring the mobile. This is Aug. Let me see if I see this. Okay, very good. All right, so this is our screen. Let me see if I can show you. So the buttons that you see here, it says scan a new model, show existing models, and start team viewing. Before I can start team viewing, I like to bring a model. So these are the things that are cached into my mobile device. Every one of those boxes are a model I downloaded beforehand. So the eye there that you saw is an element of bringing the model. So as you see, this is a model that just came up in a matter of seconds. There is an element of slowness using this thing, but as you can see, this is an interior design element. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. This is as the designer has developed. I can walk in there. By the way, you see my laptop there because it's real world. So my intent is to show you what's known as a start team viewing. So I push that button. I'm going to create a room, and I'm going to call it room number 123 or 1123. 123, doesn't matter. I'm going to enter a room. So imagine if every one of you had application, mobile device, on your mobile device. Then on this call, I would have suggested, please go to room number 123 I just created, and you would have done the same. And as you did that, you would see what I see right now in my house in Glendale, California at 10 p.m. Local time. And then I'm going to try to edit these things so we can make some collaboration here. So I'm pushing the edit button right now. So it's freezing the picture for me. Then I'm going to try to edit some of these points here. I'm going to say, I don't think this oven is in a good place. I think these chairs do not match the environment. And I think this table, coffee table, is not large enough or tall enough. And then Professor Vijayakumar can also, since he's looking at my edits here, and he is actually having now access to the same file, he's going to say, no, Zarik, let me tell you what needs to be changed. So Professor Vijayakumar, with another color automatically selected for him, he can actually challenge my inputs here, and he can make other edits at the same time. And as both of us done with this collaboration and communication, we can actually save this under the camera. We can take a picture of it. There you go. So screen added to my gallery. So I was going to say, I just took a picture. I'm going to email it to you, and we can talk about it later. So imagine real-time augmented reality. Anything I do in my on my mobile device, you see it as it is. And then when we leave this room, you get a copy of this model into your mobile device. So you don't have to download it from any other devices. So as I leave here, let me leave my room, and I'm going to go to my gallery. And there it is. That's the phone. No, that's my son. So let me go to albums. There you go. That's the file that you just saw. It's on my gallery. So I think this shows you, when we talk about collaboration and communication, this is really, in my opinion, a groundbreaking idea where in real time, you can see things, you can discuss on behalf of the models. This is another model, an example of another model. So I'm using a surface to bring this up. As you can see, this is landscape, and there's a huge pool here. There's some textures here. You can walk in. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. Again, it's kind of dark in my room, so the elements are not as good. But you can see it can be a landscape, it could be a structure, it could be piping. Let me see, what is this one? HDS01. Oh yeah, this is very nice actually. So you see, this is actually some, we have some mechanical engineering, we have some piping structure. And you can literally zoom in, zoom out. You can go in, you can see the details of the bolts and everything. So imagine you're making a presentation to your chair person for your thesis, and you can actually go through all these details in real time and showing it to the audience and be proud of it. So I think, let me see. Let me show you a view of our dashboard also, and then let me stop the share here. Stop sharing. Okay. So let me start share again, and I think I'll be done in a couple of minutes as soon as I show the last view, and then I'll be happy to take any questions. Okay. So this is a typical dashboard view, you know, and what you see is these are the models on the backend system, and you can view them in the two-dimensional view before you create a QR code. Again, this is literally, you just saw a few seconds. So this model was uploaded using Revit or SketchUp. You can go take a look at it. You can zoom in, zoom out. This is virtual reality. It's on my desk, on my computer. It's not augmented reality, but now you're saying this is good. I'm going to send this to Zarik in Glendale, and you can create a QR code by pushing a button. So within 5 seconds, 6 seconds, you can approve your model that is uploaded, and then you can create a QR code. And the person of interest who is interested to view this model, they can scan this QR code and point the camera to the marker or a surface mode to benefit from AR experience. And the models can be of any value. They can be small, large. You know, this is an interesting model. You know, the structure being built, it's a dome. So it can be anything. That's the beauty of the solution. We have an engine that is agnostic to the type of information, as we talked about. It's really the information cycle. The information can be anything. This is all data. So the idea is it's intuitive, it's very easy, and it's built for all types of information. And I believe that was the end of my presentation. I have a commercial, not commercial, a couple of videos, but I think you understand the whole effect of it, and I want to be savvy, you know, considering the time that we have, so I don't want to take too much of your time. So I'm going to stop share and see if you have any questions or if you'd like to see more.
Now let us watch a short video on the experiences of CAD students who have explored their designs in augmented reality. Over to Marula Gayatri.
Good morning, sir. I am much thrilled to share the experience of our journey with this application.
Oh, okay.
Hi, my name is Gayatri Hasita, and I believe it's time for us as architects to get restored to the virtual world. A vast realm of interactive built environments that can be accessed from the comfort of one's home. And this has been possible through the augmentative reality. It was a quite an interesting exercise to explore the above with the help of the augment texture application with my own design. Once the model has been uploaded, I could use my smartphone to locate the model on a flat plane surface. It had pretty cool features like zooming in and out and walking in through the model and rotating it. We could also create sections in order to understand the model and the design much better. Overall, it was a pretty cool and fun experience, and I'm looking forward for more of virtual world. Thank you.
Wow.
Hello, this is
Thank you.
Pratishta. So for today, I've utilized one of my blocks from a previous design to experiment with, and it's come out exactly like my Revit model. And I really like how my mullions are quite distinct, and it looks pretty much like my model. And apart from that, the form itself is rendered quite beautifully in 3D. So I'm taking my sections now, and they come out pretty accurately. Apart from that, the only difference from my Revit model and the 3D model is that for one of the top layers, I had used the material grass, and it's not exactly shown in the 3D model. But apart from that, it's pretty much exactly the same. And it was quite interesting to move around my camera, my phone, and see that the model was still present. And I was very fortunate enough for it to correctly get rendered on my wall. Thank you. Hello,
Wow, great.
So the process of getting enrolled was fairly easy, though I'd have liked a prolonged trial version that suited an experience better as a student, since uploading a small file took quite a while. However, my first impression was something great. The fact that the key to this entire experience was only a tiny plugin that got installed with no hassle is a great addition to it. The model was certainly my first AR experience and was undoubtedly a very impressive one. Can't wait for Augmented to get upgraded more and become a mainstream.
Hello, this is Akshaya. On the beginning of the software, I had no idea like how it's going to work, and I thought it would be complicated. But eventually, when I started using, I realized it's user friendly and it's augmented the user's visual perception of their environment. The argumentecture helped me to present and explain ideas, and it's like a digital information superimposing over natural existing environment. By using this technology, it would be helpful for professionals to analyze contents before even building it. First, I was thinking it was a rigid tool, but eventually, as I started using Augmentecture, there's no need to fuss because there's only need for a QR code, which can be generated by ourselves and given to the customer so that they can have a 3D view anywhere. The great part comes next, taking sections. I personally loved it. It helps the user to analyze and the spatial integrity of their desired spaces. Taking sections are possible in both directions. Finally, I really enjoyed the process and finding new ways to leverage the efforts I put into the modeling. Augmentecture has helped me with visually communicating through spaces. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a humbling. I love this. See, this is what entrepreneurship is. You live for the moment. So it's like professorship. My metric in teaching in my classroom is, can I change one student's life and give them wisdom for their future? And 1 out of 100 or 200 people, that's a good metric. And when I see these moments, I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time and experimenting. It really means a lot.
Thank you, sir. It was through this activity that I got my first-hand experience with AR and with architecture, how it grows along. And it was a little bit tricky in the start, but once you get the hang of it, it was easy to figure out. And
Right.
the output was really delightful to see.
Thank you. Yes, there is some challenge actually. It's less for the solution, but with the navigation on the phone, right? So how do you place the phone? How do you place it to the surface? But that is like anything else. It's a habit you form, and then so we have to improve some of our communication and our training, and give some heads up about these are the best practices. So I appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, well, we also have few questions from my fellow batchmates and classmates.
Sure. Go ahead.
So in what fields Augmentexture is being in application the most?
Well, so we built this application for architects and designers, interior or exterior, and in construction in general. But we by surprise, our first enterprise client was an association called United Association. They're a plumbing association of 300,000 members, and they have to be trained on the latest codes and compliances with piping structures. So their training is usually traditionally on two-dimensional blueprints in a very thick and bold document, and it's boring, and they don't understand when they look at the picture or the blueprint. So then they used our augmented reality solution to actually bring those pipings with different color codes into the real world, so these plumbers can actually see how it is from the bottom point of view and from top and the side. So for plumbers, this became a good solution for plumbers, but we didn't build it for plumbers. Then the MEP, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing also. So that they become a very good standard. We have a client and a partner in South Africa, and they're using this heavily, and they're promoting it on their own liking. So the MEP The architecture, naturally, like the facade and the bedrooms, you can actually experience it, go walking into the different locations and all that. And I think as we publish, by the way, I showed you a feature that you don't have on the,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so that's the team viewing. So I think another benefit we do have, so long you have downloaded the model into your mobile device, you can go to a site without internet, and you can actually still see your model without an internet or Wi-Fi in an empty land, and so you can make decisions while you're there. So I think architecture, construction, and MEP generally, I think those are the
All
industries.
right. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And the next one is, can a urban context-based design be brought into the augmented texture?
And urban context, what do you mean by that?
Um, might be like a mini city or
Oh.
yes, sir.
Yeah, as long as again, so our premise is as long as there is a model that has been built, and the size element may be challenging, but again, the compression that algorithms that we have can alleviate some of those challenges. So if it's something that has been modeled and it's viewable on the modeling tools, we should be able to convert it into the mobile element. Now, instead of minutes of conversion, it may take an hour or 2 hours, but nevertheless, that's still unmatched in the world, because a lot of companies from the past, you had to send the model into a Dropbox, and Dropbox sends it to them, and then they do something manually. Everything that, by the way, all the workflow I showed you, it's all automatic. There's no human interaction. So that's really the benefit and competitive advantage. So the answer is, I believe we can, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Over to Krishna Sadhana. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Zarik, that was a very fascinating and enlightening lecture.
Thank you.
I have some more questions for you from the viewers.
Yeah.
Now, with these new tools, which changes the spatial experience drastically, will the role of real places and identity diminish over time? How do we retain the role and experience of the real space and associated experience using these tools?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the role and the space. Can you repeat, please?
The role and experience of real space. That is, these tools change the spatial experience of the reality drastically. So, how will the role of real places and identity will it diminish over time?
No, I
Our
don't
touch with
think.
reality. Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole premise of augmented reality is you augment some virtual environment into real environment. So I think the premise, that the idea is, can I make a decision looking at this data? So you can look at the data in a two-dimensional format, or you can look at the data in a three-dimensional format. So I think the human element and common sense says, if you feel it better, if you see it better, if you can experience it better, like in a real environment, then you can make a decision to buy or to sell or to build or to destruct. So I think it's improving those decisions, and I don't think it's taking away anything from the real world, and I think it's actually augmenting the real world.
The real world. Thank you so much, sir. Another question is that how could augmented reality help in the initial documentation of existing buildings? If so, how precise or accurate can it be so that we can depend on it for future detailing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think the models that have been created already and have not gone through this compression and conversion process, they all have to be re-uploaded and having gone through this process so you can create these OGG files. So I think that there has to be an attempt to take the old models, create new models, and create these OGG files, and then that can be used as a new repository for data and the future models and all that. So there is some labor involved, but not the new ones. The old ones, I think there has to be some attempt to bring all of those models into the database that we currently have. and there is some element of labor involved there. So there is time and effort involved there, but some of it has to be redone, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Another question is that in India there are a variety of vernacular construction techniques. Can augmented reality be used to visualize these?
Well, I assume so. I don't want to say it with certainty, but maybe with some manipulation then in between, maybe there needs to be some integration. But I think anything is possible. We talked about my experience from the past. When I started working on the space program, this was 30 some years ago. We didn't have laptop, we didn't have iPhones, we didn't have public internet. It was government only had access to internet, and we built a space station that is still orbiting the Earth. So my experience and my wisdom says we can do anything given the time and the resources from a technology perspective. So is there a conversion algorithm? Is there some integration in between? It can be done. So to me, everything is possible, but it needs to be done and validated before it can be publicized.
Yeah, brilliant, sir. Thank you so much. I now would like to request the director to share his thoughts on the lecture.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Zarik. From the lecture, it is certainly very reassuring that what is being seen as a novelty right now will soon become the norm in the industry sooner than we think.
Yes.
I really wish students of CAD are able to quickly adopt to these changes and build proficiency in these tools and be the game changers in the practices they join for internship, or redefine the working methods in their own practices they form. We are sure that we will continue to set the right path for the future architects in our institution, CAAD, Chennai Academy of Architecture and Design. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It is with great pleasure that I'd like to present the vote of thanks. On behalf of CAAD Chennai Academy of Architecture and Design, I extend my deepest gratitude to our speaker, Dr. Zarik Boghossian. Thank you, sir, for contributing your valuable time and effort in organizing this very informative and enlightening session. It has been a great privilege to have you with us today. I express my profound thanks and gratitude to our chairman, Dr. V.R. Rajendran, for the constant support and encouragement. My heartfelt gratitude to Director Professor Vinod Vijay Kumar for his visionary guidance and tireless efforts. I would like to profusely thank the dedicated faculty members of the organizing team. Finally, I would like to thank the faculty, students, and attendees for your presence, attention, and contribution in making this lecture a great success. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I really appreciate the honor. It's very humbling and very emotional. I really appreciate it, your kindness.